first question I need to ask you is, why Liv Morgan when Gianna Daddio is such a great name? Why would that not be your wrestling name? Daddio is great.
I tried for it to be, but I'm not in charge. I don't really make the decisions. So I walked into work and they were like, Liv Morgan or Liv Gallo, which one? And I was like, Liv Morgan. But I ended up falling in love with it. I love Liv, I love that name. I love all the room that I have to play around with it. And I feel like it inspires me in a weird way, like live, like stay alive. Like I try to embody that.
I did want to ask about Money in the Bank, right? Like what's such a great, enormous moment for yourself. It's just interesting because obviously that's in the Vince era. So did you know much about where he thought the run would go after that night?
No.
Because of course, you had no plans?
No, I know absolutely nothing. I'm just so grateful that, I became his champion. But I had no idea, I just literally take it day by day, moment by moment with no plans of the future. I know it sounds so responsible. Yeah, it's literally day by day, in WWE, and everything could change at any single point in time. But yeah, being champion and being the champion, it meant a lot to me.
I was going to ask, I guess in normal circumstances, like if my boss changed, I'd be a bit like, oh, what does that mean for me or whatever. But you have the previous relationship with Triple H from NXT and stuff. So I guess that must have been comforting in a way.
For sure. I mean, obviously, everything could change at any point in time. But yeah, it's definitely comforting. It's not like we have all new people in charge, taking over. It's Triple H and Stephanie, the two most best suited people for this job, so it's very comforting and feels familiar.
Approaching this Money in the Bank, there was such a groundswell of people talking about that they wanted you to be Miss Money in the Bank. But I felt like there was that the year before as well. Like, did you feel that when Nikki won it, that, I don't know if they would have said you were in the running or anything like that, but you were in the match. You must have felt that the crowd really wanted you to have it. Was that kind of like a breakout moment in itself?
For sure. I feel like there's a very specific moment in my career where I kind of felt like the tides were turning, and it was leading up to Money in the Bank. I had a promo that was during a commercial break where I was just telling the crowd how excited I was to be able to compete in Money in the Bank. And then they just broke out and "You deserve a chance." And, like typical, it made me cry. It made me cry. And in that moment, I just remember never experiencing anything like that until that point, and just feeling like they're with me, like they want me to win this thing. And I feel like we've been off to the races ever since then.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you feel like Vince and maybe some others noticed that same time too?
Yeah, I do. I think it became kind of like undeniable in a way where I don't know. It wasn't, as much as I thought last year was my time and my moment, and as bad as I wanted it, it wasn't my time or my moment, even though I 100% thought it was. But this year was, and I'm so glad for that wait. I think sometimes we feel ready for things, but the universe knows better. It knows better than anyone. And they were like, nah, you're not ready, but this time next year, you're going to be overly prepared. And so I think it all ended up working out how it was supposed to in the end of the day.
Tell me as well, I know things change so much in WWE, so you can never be too sure. But did you clue in your Riot Squad friends prior to the victory, or did you just get their genuine reactions after?
Genuine reactions. I got their
really?
I called them right after. Well, I didn't know when I was going to cash in. I had hoped, like my goal for that day was to win Money in the Bank. I did not think, okay, I'm going to win Money in the Bank and then cash in and become SmackDown Women's Champion tonight. I was like, I'm just going to win Money in the Bank. And then when the time feels right, I will make a move. And then, 2 hours later, I'm watching Natalia versus Ronda, and I get that feeling like, oh, the time feels right. And before I could even think about it for a second longer, I was already running down the ramp. But yeah, I called Ruby and Sarah directly after, and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, did you see me? Did you watch me? This is back a little bit now.
What an awesome moment that must have been. Again, after everything
it was really
you
cool.
guys have been through, man. Like, because I feel like the documentary opened so many eyes as well on the network to like what your journey's really been in WWE. Would you say it's fair to say that that perception changed things too? A lot of people sympathize with you.
Yeah, sympathize, relate. I feel like a lot of people can relate to having a goal and working hard for it, and failing along the way, but keep trying. I feel like not everyone can relate to being the best and the strongest and the fastest, but I feel like everyone can relate to hard work and wanting something more than anything, and then scratching and clawing to get it, and then finally getting it, so I feel like they relate to that. I didn't walk in and was like, I'm the best, and was the best, so I succeeded. I was actually terrible, and this was not easy for me, and it didn't come naturally, and I had to work really hard to even just be like decent, and so but I wanted it more than anyone else, and that's why I'm your SmackDown Women's Champion. Indeed
you are. Is it fair to say, like, I've seen the videos of you working out with Natalia and TJ. Have they played a massive role in that, in your growth?
Massive. If not for like the work rate and for what they teach me, but for my confidence. I feel like when you work towards your goals, even if you're not getting better, there's just like a confidence that comes with knowing that you're training or like wanting to be better. So even if I didn't see results, they just gave me so much confidence like in myself. And yeah, what the time spent with them in the dungeon is invaluable. I feel like this time last year I was training in there once a week for like 3-4 hours, and that was kind of like my road to the title. I didn't know it yet at that time, but it's like all of that prepared me for this.
And lest we forget, Extreme Rules is upon us. Yourself, Ronda Rousey, in the titular match. Wow, what's it been like working with Ronda? Because you're a few matches deep now. Is it what you expected it to be? Once she came in the company, and now you're having these series of matches. What's it been like?
It's a very weird dynamic in a sense, in so many levels. Like I was a Hooters waitress watching Ronda Rousey win championships in the UFC. We literally play every single pay-per-view at Hooters, so I literally watched her in real time, and so that's such a crazy dynamic. That's like a weird full circle moment. And she's a fighter and I'm a wrestler, so just even that dynamic, it's like I'm trying to think of things that are like opposites. Even though not opposites, like we have just very different styles and we have different minds about the business. And it's like, sometimes honestly I question, I'm like, why does she even want to be champion? She doesn't go to every single television. She doesn't go to the live events. And if she was champion, you wouldn't be having this conversation right now. She wouldn't be doing this media. So I'm like, Ronda, why, what do you want to be champion for? Just so you can have another accolade to add to your list. This is like what I live, eat, sleep, and breathe. This is what I live for. This is what I die for. This is every single moment of my time is spent thinking about WWE and being champion and how I can raise my stock, how I could raise this title, how I can make it mean the absolute most that it can mean. And I think for her, it's just another notch on her belt.
Do you think in terms of on Sunday, because you have beaten Ronda, but do you need like
Saturday?
Yes. This is you got to remember it's in Sunday morning.
Oh yeah, we have to. Yeah. You're right.
So you know how it goes.
You're making me nervous, so I'm like, it's Saturday.
Is it? yeah, do you feel like you need like what I would call a statement victory over Ronda? To kind of not only put an end to the series or the feud that you've got going on, but just to really establish yourself as champion.
Yeah, it's so funny because I beat her twice, and for some reason that's like not enough. I'm on the whole entire planet to beat her twice, and for some reason there's still this underlining doubt as if I can beat her again. So I'm so ready for the challenge. I'm so ready to prove anyone that doesn't believe in me wrong. And above all is I love this championship so much. This is not an accessory. This is a prize. And this is something that I wear with so much pride and so much responsibility. She's gonna have to literally kill me. She's gonna have to literally kill me to win this championship for me.
I can't wait to watch it unfold. Last one for me. What's cool as well, you talk about your journey in WWE and how you've risen to this place. And I've spoken to various women on the roster that would call you the funniest one in the dressing room, and you bring life and energy to the dressing room. And over the past year, now Becky's out injured, Charlotte's taken a big break, Sasha and Naomi, of course, away living their best lives, it seems, right now too. Has it been like kind of cool to step up into that prominent spot? You know what I mean? Like the champion.
For sure. I feel like I was just having this conversation with Bailey like last week. She was asking about the locker room and how everything was, because she was gone as well,
Yeah.
And it's had a moment when I came in the era of the horsewoman, right? So it's like I started 2014 and we were just like figuring out we have these 4 girls that are going to be the pillar of the future of women's wrestling, right? And so that's a lot for anyone to like live up to as far as new girls coming in. Like we already have these 4 girls that we're gonna make the pinnacle of women's wrestling, and here I am like just starting on my first day, like wow, like I hope I can be that, and that's what we've had like the last 8 or so years. We know the 4 horsewomen, we know that they're incredible, we know that they are the top, the elite, we know that they are not who you want to be, but who you want to like beat, right? And so we had a moment in time this year where we had none of them. We had no Charlotte, we had no Becky, no Bailey, no Sasha. So for the first time, I think probably ever since we've discovered the 4 horsewomen, we had none of them active on the roster. And so I feel like it gave a lot of people a lot of time and a lot of room to kind of grow and mature and figure out their place in the division without this pillar kind of standing in front of us, right? And so for me, I don't even have the words to describe like I don't have the words. It's been an honor of lead the division in this time, and just grow new stars, and show the company, look, I love all those girls that, I love Charlotte, I love Bailey, I love Sasha, I love Becky. But it was important for, I think, everyone else to show the company. It's like, yeah, they're great, and they're going to be here for a long time, but also it's like you have a stacked women's roster. Not saying we don't need them, but it's like we can all go and we will all be fine. I don't know. It was a weird, cool, interesting time in women's wrestling.
And I call him the following year and I say, oh, hey, Brad, how about facing me at WrestleMania? And this poor guy's like, Kurt, I just had a stroke. It was fucking crazy. So I understand why he said no, because I'm at the age. Not just because he had a stroke, and he got kicked in the head and had a concussion.